The pandemic is officially over, according to our government. So let's take a look back and realize what we learned, what we did right, and maybe what we did wrong during the pandemic in preparation for the next one. Guys, Titan Preparedness, welcome back to the channel. Today's video we are talking about COVID-19. We are talking about the COVID pandemic, coronavirus. Now you might be asking me, okay, why are we talking about this, right? That's old news. Because I think there is a lot of lessons that I and we have learned over the course of the last 3 years. And I want to take a step back and talk about them. Because I think we as preppers did some things right, we did some things wrong. I want to take a step back and talk about the lessons that we learned. So we're going to go 1 to 5. Let's kick it off with number 1. Preppers were right. Yay! Give yourselves a pat on the back, ladies and gentlemen. We were right. At least at the beginning. Preppers were right about being prepared. Now, in 2019, I don't know how many of y'all had global pandemic on your bingo cards for 2020, but it wasn't necessarily on my list. Hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes, sure. Not necessarily a global pandemic that caused lockdowns. But there we were, March of 2020, everyone going home for a 2-week lockdown, supposedly. Many preppers were unaffected by this, right? Maybe you lost your job, maybe you got remote work locations. But as far as the stocking up on food, toilet paper, resources, we were already set, because we've been talking about this for years. We've been talking about prepping up and stockpiling and having food and other items for years. So being prepared, we were set, right? My shelves were stocked, my pantry was full, and then they said, hey, go home, and we're like, oh, okay, well, we got food at the house. We weren't that worried about it. I remember going to Walmart to pick up chocolate chips for dinner that one night and looking at all these people who were stockpiling in the grocery store. And it looked like it was the last day on earth because people were just flooding the grocery store. It was crazy, which I'm sure y'all saw the same thing. But lesson learned number 1, become a prepper and be prepared. But lesson learned number 2, find time to grow your skills. So in 2020, it got interesting, right? People were bored at home. Some people started working out. Some people started watching Netflix and Tiger King. Some people started getting rich on TikTok. It was a valuable time at home for 2 weeks that led to 2 months, that led to almost 2 years in some cases, for people to learn new skills. A lot of people started making sourdough bread. I don't know why. Apparently that was a popular thing to do. A lot of people started gardens, right? I remember the seeds not being sold in many stores that I was looking at because there was a run on seeds because people wanted to garden, so you prevented them from growing gardens. Don't ask me. I don't know. People started raising livestock. People got dogs. People got chickens. People got ducks. I remember talking to the people at Tractor Supply saying, hey, where's your livestock? And they're like, yeah, there is none. Because people were coming in here and going, oh, I want chickens. Well, do you know anything about chickens? Nope, never raised them before. Okay, well, here, have some chickens. I mean, we got our first livestocks in 2020, not necessarily for that reason, but it was a good time to grow them because people were at home and your wife and kids and everyone else was bored. So people got new skills. Having skills and learning new skills is absolutely important. Pat yourselves on the back. We did great at learning new things. Maybe learn those skills before the next pandemic, before the next recession, before the next Great Depression, the hyperinflation. I would appreciate having chickens when I want to go buy more chickens. I would appreciate being able to buy seeds when I want more seeds. Yeah, I wasn't able to do that back then. So try to learn those skills beforehand. Lesson number 3 learned from the COVID pandemic. obviously it changed lives, right? Some people lost their lives, some people lost their jobs, some people lost everything. It changed lives. It created a miniature recession because obviously the growth and the movement of the United States economy ceased to a halt, right? Recessions created homelessness. Yes, we had a homeless population beforehand, but it skyrocketed after. People who can't work can't pay their bills. People who can't pay the bills get kicked out of their homes, lose their car, lose X, Y, and Z. So one issue created more issues. And many people that I know of had to change their lives because of this life-changing event. I had family members, friends, co-workers who had to up and move or change where they lived or move in with grandma and grandpa because this event was going on. They lost their jobs were non-essential, and they got sent home. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I live pretty close paycheck to paycheck. And losing paychecks for 2 weeks, for 2 months, for 2 years creates a lot of issues. And so many people got put out on the street. Many people got put out of their vehicles. And so this issue created a recession, which created even more issues. So speaking of multiple issues at one time, let's move on to number 4. The original problem creates new problems you never see coming. 2020, March. We are all fighting each other over toilet paper, right? Battles in the street. People are selling them online per the roll. It is a battle in the street for some TP. Then the lumber prices went up. Then there was a shortage on new vehicles because there's a chip shortage. Then because the new vehicles aren't coming in, the old vehicles are skyrocketing. Now people are buying vehicles that are way too old, creating a auto market bubble that's eventually going to pop, maybe by the time this video comes out. Then we had eggflation. Then we had a gas shortage because some Russians attacked our malware. Then we had the Suez Canal thing with the boat turning sideways and now nobody's getting anything. Then we had X, Y, Z. You know, we moved on. We're still talking about issues being from COVID years later. So expect the unexpected. Before we get into a lesson learned number 5, I want to give you guys a bonus. Again, let's go back to the prepping channels. Let's go back to preppers in general. We did very good at being ready for an event to happen. That's kind of what we're good at, right? We're good at being ready for hurricanes, earthquakes, tornadoes, global pandemics, right? We were ready for it. And so we had a little chip on our shoulder because we were already pre-prepared for this event. And so a lot of individuals, channels, groups started making up bullshit. I can't tell you how many times in 2020 that I saw martial law has been declared, they're coming for your guns, or cashless society, we are going all mark of the beast, it is the end of the dollar. If you guys remember, at the beginning of 2020, we were supposedly going to war with North Korea. And then it was Syria. We're dropping bombs on Syria. We're going to war. Yep, nope. That didn't happen. Take the media with a grain of salt. Many prepping channels took this as I was right about this right here, this one thing over here. Maybe if I throw a couple of darts at a random word board, I can make up some shit and get millions of views. That's what they were doing, right? Martial law's coming. No, it's not. Cashless societies are coming. No, they weren't. So congrats for being right about one thing over here. That's the one thing that you've been right about in the last 800 videos. Turn the media off. Enjoy your life. And the biggest lesson learned in the entire pandemic the last 3 years, be able to adapt. Right? In the military, we talk about improvise, adapt, and overcome. When people went home, we had to adapt to them not being at my plant. We had to adapt to, the vending machines not working, to the canteen not working, to having 6 foot apart, wearing masks. Then we had an outage where we had thousands of people coming in who were not from the local area, and they had to adapt to our rules and restrictions. Local businesses had to adapt to this new way of thinking, right? Applebee's in my local area shut down all in-house dining, like most places, but they still did drive-through. It was the same way for many other businesses. I know a couple of gas stations lock their doors. You'd walk up to the gas station and say, hey, I need 10 on this pump and give me a bag of chips. Burger King, for some reason, they put the food in the bucket and then handed the bucket out the window, even though they just touched the food, but that way you wouldn't touch the bucket. Walmart, they were probably the biggest idiots, at least locally, because they said, hey, we're going to use the same door for entry and exit. That way people don't pass germs, even though you're walking past people. Adaptability, right? That's probably the biggest thing. Be able to adapt to your surroundings, be able to adapt to the circumstances that you find yourself in, and be able to not only be positive about it, but find a way that you can grow from it. Again, people went home for 2 weeks, supposedly, and it became 2 months. So those people grew gardens, those people learned to sew, those people got in touch with their health, they got in touch with TikTok and watched Tiger King. Be able to adapt to your new environment. Because if we have another one, because if we have another recession, because if we have another depression, that is going to be the biggest thing. Learn new skills, be able to adapt to your environment. Let me know your lessons learned from this pandemic in preparation for another one or another great crisis. Let me know down below, list them out, put them all in one sentence. I don't care, you do you. But I appreciate you guys for watching. Y'all stay safe out there. Hopefully this is the last pandemic for at least a couple years, because it was a media shit show. Yeah, anyhows, y'all stay safe. Take care of one another. That's all I got. You two out.